The case of Ana Walshe's disappearance and the subsequent murder trial of her husband, Brian Walshe, has garnered significant media attention due to its disturbing details and the complexities surrounding it. Background of the case. Ana Walshe, a 39-year-old mother of 3 and a real estate executive, was last seen on January 1, 2023, in Cohasset, Massachusetts. Her husband, Brian Walshe, reported her missing on January 4, claiming she had left for a work emergency in Washington, D.C. However, investigations revealed inconsistencies in his story. Notably, there was no evidence that Ana boarded a flight or used her credit cards after January 1. Allegations against Brian Walshe. Brian Walshe was arrested on January 18, 2023, after police discovered blood and a damaged knife in their home. Prosecutors allege that he killed Ana, dismembered her body, and disposed of her remains. Evidence presented includes Brian's Google search history, which reportedly contained queries about how to dispose of a body and cleaning supplies purchased shortly after Ana's disappearance. The prosecution's case is bolstered by claims that Brian had a motive related to a substantial life insurance policy taken out on Ana, which named him as the sole beneficiary. Additionally, it was revealed that he had hired a private investigator to follow Ana in the days leading up to her disappearance, suspecting infidelity. Current status of the trial. As of now, Brian Walshe has pleaded not guilty to charges including first-degree murder and misleading investigators. His trial has faced delays, partly due to his mental health evaluations following an incident where he was stabbed in jail. The trial is expected to delve into the evidence against him, including the implications of his online searches and the physical evidence found at their home. The case continues to unfold, with significant public interest in both the tragic circumstances of Ana Walshe's disappearance and the legal proceedings against her husband. The next steps in the trial will likely focus on the prosecution's ability to present a compelling narrative supported by the evidence gathered during the investigation. In the context of the Ana Walshe case, Abdullah Al-Mutari has been mentioned as a friend of Ana Walshe, but his role appears to be less central compared to that of her husband, Brian Walshe. Al-Mutari has not been implicated in any wrongdoing related to Ana's disappearance or the subsequent murder charges against Brian Walshe. Reports indicate that Al-Mutari did not engage in suspicious activities such as purchasing cleaning supplies or conducting internet searches related to body disposal, which have been highlighted in the prosecution's case against Brian Walshe. Instead, he seems to have been a supportive figure in Ana's life, and there has been speculation about why he has not been more closely scrutinized by investigators.
Her husband Brian. This interest parallels the state's evolving case against him. First accused in mid-January 2023 of misleading investigators, then indicted for her murder less than 6 months later. Following the established chronology of events leading to Ana's disappearance, an analytical lens identifies sensationalized media framing and public fascination as sources of bias that, while not necessarily erroneous, distort critical contextual details essential to assessing the investigation's integrity. On New Year's Eve 2022, Ana left home on a planned business trip and did not return on the expected date. She is more likely to be dead than alive, a friend observed almost 3 weeks later. Brian claimed she had traveled to Washington, D.C. by ride-sharing, but had made no flight or hotel reservations. Her phone, credit cards, and bank accounts have been inactive, he noted. The couple affected the conduct of day-to-day domestic life and separate parenting responsibilities, delegating to a nanny the boring aspects connected to child supervision. Aided by extensive media coverage, her disappearance soon became a public fascination story, whose combination with a reassurance of security and ingestion facility dimension of the story possibly influenced the investigation's conduct. With what seems like a textbook case of a unique missing persons investigation, a woman has been missing for more than a week and no one heard or saw anything. All the missing persons investigation resources are on her case, but the investigative hourglass still pours sand through its inverted neck. The clock ticks, but the nameless victim remains anonymous. Policing agencies and society have put the highest priority on ensuring the well-being of the woman concerned and publicly condemned the acts of violence against women in general. However, the police investigation techniques used and public opinion have been different from the previous victim protection statements, at least in the initial search and inquiry stages. It has not been proven that Ana Walshe is dead and that a murder has occurred. There was a story in the world press about her disappearance that, if one removed the name, could be extended to most missing persons cases, with only the gender of the persons involved being reversed. It stated that her husband Brian Walshe was charged with her murder and that the police were looking for her body. Following the timeline of events would not have suggested otherwise. A detailed examination of the events and an analytical comparison with another recent crime with a woman as a victim, Patricia Hall, where all these elements vaguely paralleled the Walshe case, may yield some insight. It still needs to be explained how the two investigations differed in execution and public perception. In light of the limited availability of empirical data, the investigation relies primarily on archival sources. Publicly accessible judicial materials, municipal police reports, affidavits, contemporaneous press reports, and expert opinion in the public domain. The breadth of these documents enables scrutiny of the legal proceedings and judicial filings at each stage of the investigation and prosecution, as well as a systematic reconstruction of the investigation practices, decision frameworks, and choices made by the Massachusetts authorities. While the configuration of available resources precludes tabulation of investigative steps and forensic evidence lineage in traditional detailed format, the formal structure of the chronology and the high-level nature of material links remain intact. The legal proceedings related to AnaWalshe's disappearance and the official actions of Massachusetts law enforcement agencies have been monitored since their inception through direct and indirect engagements with related websites.
The review process has also ensured that errors and misstatements have been corrected as further information has become available or conflicting accounts noted. The preceding analysis of the disappearance of Ana Walshe and the subsequent prosecution of Brian Walshe represents an effort to explore a particular case via a specific lens. Repeating the research question at the outset makes it easier to assess whether and how the analysis responds. The question, framed in an exploratory manner, asked how this instance of a wife going missing and subsequently being presumed murdered differs from or resembles comparable peer cases. In the present exposition, the primary sources of information regarding the case originated with the media. Newspaper articles followed the early days of the investigation and covered the later court appearances. Judge Daniel J. Gallagher's ruling on the motion for bail served as a valuable legal point of reference. An appropriate skeptically attuned comparison with other recent, broadly similar cases revealed substantial parallels and a few marked differences. The primary motivation for the analysis, however, lay elsewhere. Numerous factors combined to lend a certain salience to this case. Media articles addressing Ana Walshe's disappearance and the investigation into her whereabouts raise a variety of questions. From a moral or ethical perspective, the analysis also raises the matter of the kind of person publicly speculating about the victim's disappearance. It prompts thoughts about the multiplying quiet payments on the husband's part, the missing woman's fate, and the degree to which the husband's limited means match the apparent growing costs of hiring skilled assistants. Similarly, it raises whether the risk of being caught warrants the related, considerable expense. Why, indeed, would a husband want a wife gone, or crossing the street, but be careful enough to try to rely on someone else actively and visibly doing it rather than taking it into his or her immediate own hands? It also invites reflection on whether, at some level, a victim's work-driven absence from home, with its related nightly locations and routines, might become an active source of attraction for more than one party.